Good afternoon, I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Welcome to Midday Prime. In the next 1 hour, we bring you all the stories and updates from India and the world. A step forward towards making India's vaccine basket more diverse. This is going to be the second Made in India vaccine. More on that in the show up ahead. Clinical trial for vaccine for children begins in Patna. Meanwhile, Army Chief General Naravane has warned Pakistan against breach of truce between the two nations, accusing the neighbor of continuing to facilitate terror. All that and more. First, the top stories. Centre finalizes advanced vaccine supply arrangement with Biological E Limited, Hyderabad for 30 crore COVID-19 vaccine doses. The COVID-19 vaccine of Biological E is currently undergoing phase 3 clinical trial, likely to be available in the next few months. Clinical trial of Bharat Biotech's Covaxin on children began today at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Patna. Covaxin received Drug Controller General of India nod to conduct clinical trial on children on May 11th. Trials at Delhi AIIMS likely to begin from Monday. India administers over 22 crore vaccine doses, over 2.25 crore to age group of 18 to 44 years of age. Recovery rate climbs to 92.79%. Active cases declined by over 80,000 in the past 24 hours. Testing capacity substantially ramped up with 35.37 crore tests conducted so far. Union Home Minister Amit Shah inaugurates 9 oxygen plants in Gujarat to be operated by Vallabh Youth Organization. Says under Prime Minister Modi's leadership, India patiently fought the second wave. Adds that globally, India has recorded the fastest vaccination drive. Several state boards also decide to cancel Class 12th exams a day after CBSE's decision not to hold the test. Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Uttarakhand, Goa and Rajasthan also scrapped Class 12th exams this year. Army Chief warns Pakistan against truce breach. General Naravane says Pakistan continues to facilitate terror, adds that we will not reduce our alertness and we are prepared at all times. Niti Aayog releases the 3rd edition of Sustainable Development Goal India Index and Dashboard 2020-21. India's overall SDG score improves by 6 points. Mizoram, Haryana, Uttarakhand are the top gainers in 2020-21. Border Security Force makes biggest drug haul in years, seizes 54 kilogram of heroin in Bikaner sector at Rajasthan-Pakistan border. Drugs reportedly smuggled from Pakistan. In Israel, the opposition informs president of forming the government moves closer to unseating Prime Minister Netanyahu after 12 years in the office. And Team India ready to take on New Zealand in the ICC World Test Championship final in England. India to also play 5 test series against England during its tour. India captain Virat Kohli and coach Ravi Shastri expressed confidence over prospects of winning ahead of departure. And let's now look at our big news. Union Ministry of Health has finalized arrangements with Hyderabad-based vaccine manufacturer Biological E to reserve 30 crore COVID-19 vaccine doses. Now, these vaccine doses will be manufactured and stockpiled by Biological E from August to December of this year, 2021. For this purpose, Union Ministry of Health would be making an advance payment of rupees 1,500 crore to Biological E. COVID-19 vaccine of Biological E is currently undergoing phase 3 clinical trial. After showing promising results in phase 1 and 2 clinical trials, the vaccine is being developed by Biological E is an RBD protein subunit vaccine is likely to be available in the next few months. The arrangement with Biological E is part of the wider endeavour of Government of India to encourage indigenous Make in India vaccine manufacturers by providing them support in research and development and also financial support. And my colleague Surekha is joining us from Hyderabad with more updates on this story. Surekha, fill us in. What do we know about this new vaccine and the manufacturer?
Yes, Biological E is the first ever pharmaceutical company established in Hyderabad way back in 1953 by Dr. D.V.K. Raju and G.A.N. Raju. Now, third generation family is running this Biological E company successfully, and last August it has made a license agreement with Houston-based health sciences university called Baylor College of Medicine for transfer of technology of COVID-19 vaccine. This is in August 2020 itself, when we were just hit by first wave in March. So to speak, they are ready already. They have finished the very promising, like you said, the first and the second trials, and then now they are in the third clinical trial. This vaccine making is not new to Biological E. It has been making, who qualified 8 vaccines like measles and TB and snake antivenom and several vaccines. It has the infrastructure, it has the experience, and it is very, very vast. Right. Besides what it is 30 crore doses that it is going to come up with soon by from August through December, it has also a couple of other vaccine candidates in collaboration with Johnson & Johnson, etc. But these 30 crore doses, looks like the second wave already India has handled very well, and in this program, central government's program called Vaccine Maitri, this vaccine also, if added, Covaxin, Sputnik and Covishield, and now the brand new one coming in, but to be brought in by by Biological E.
Right, Surekha, also given that the new vaccine is expected to be available in a few months, important step forward as far as availability of wide diversity of vaccine for Indians in the country.
Yes, absolutely. And Hyderabad is proud of the fact that this is the second vaccine that is coming out of Hyderabad. I mean, if you take Sputnik also, Covaxin, Sputnik, and now Biological E is going to come up with nothing less than 30 crore doses. And, the world is absolutely looking forward. And India, it seems, already under the waning effect of second wave, India should be good to go with so many vaccines coming in.
Right there, Surekha, thanks very much.
We have vaccinated certain percentage of Indians. Yes.
Right there, thanks very much, Surekha, for joining us with those inputs from Hyderabad. Moving on. A clinical trial of Bharat Biotech's co-vaccine on children began today at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS, Patna. After being administered the dose of intramuscular injection, children were monitored for a couple of hours. Co-vaccine received the Drug Controller General of India's nod to conduct clinical trials on children on May 11th. Niti Aayog member Health V.K. Paul had earlier said co-vaccine has been approved by DCGI for phase 2nd and 3rd clinical trial in the age group of youngsters aged 2 to 18 years. The co-vaccine trial on children are also likely to take place at AIIMS Delhi from Monday. My colleague Salman Haider joins us from Patna with more updates on these crucial trials. Salman, give us the details of how these trials are taking place on children. What is the protocol that is being followed first?
Yes, Shubhendu, these are phase 2 and 3 trials for the age group of 2 to 17 years. Initially, the vaccine doses are being given to 12 to 17 years age group. of children. The protocols are being followed. As you know, it has a set guidelines for the clinical trial, and there is ethics committee and all that. Every norms are being followed. CM Singh, the superintendent of AIMS, told me that all the norms are being followed and registration is almost complete. As you know, the clinical trial on children are being conducted at 3 places: AIMS Patna, AIMS Delhi, and one hospital in Pune. So around 175 subjects would be taken in each of them. So registration is almost complete, and vaccination is also, vaccine doses are also being given to the children of 12 to 17 years age group right now. In phase 3, the vaccine doses will be given to the age group of 2 to 12 years. So the process is going on, and as you know, it is a long drawn process.
Right.
And after 4 weeks, the second dose will also be given to them. Yes,
right. And Salman, broadly, of course, the trials are on. Broadly, how long will it take for us to know the results of whether a particular vaccine is safe for our youngsters or not?
Actually, the data will be collected and collated, and then the investigators will come to a conclusion about the efficacy of the vaccine. Vaccine is safe. It has already been said that vaccine is safe for children, and as far as the children are concerned, to which the doses are given, are safe and healthy. There is no problem in that. If everything goes well, then we can expect that in coming 3 months, the vaccine will be ready to be administered to the children of 2 to 17 years age group. Yes, Shivandu.
Right there, Salman. Thanks very much for joining us with those inputs from Patna. And meanwhile, India has achieved a significant milestone in its fight against COVID pandemic. The ongoing vaccination drive today, some updates on 138th day of the nationwide drive. The cumulative COVID vaccination coverage has crossed the 22 crore mark. A total of over 24,26,265 vaccine doses were given just in the past 24 hours. With this, cumulative number has reached 22 crore 10,43,693. Bihar, Delhi, Gujarat, Haryana, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal have vaccinated over 10 lakh beneficiaries of the age group of 18 to 44 years for the first dose. Let's now take a look at the updated figures on COVID pandemic from across the country. India reported 1,34,154 new COVID cases yesterday. As per Union Health Ministry, 2,11,499 recoveries were recorded in the past 24 hours, taking the cumulative total of recovered patients to 2,63,90,584. Now with this, more daily recoveries than daily new cases have been registered for 21 consecutive days now. Also, following a steady growth of recovery rate increases to 92.79%. India's total active caseload stands at over 17 lakh as of today. The country's present active caseload comprises 6.02% of the total positive cases. The fatality rate stands at 1.19%. And the testing capacity for COVID has also been substantially ramped up, with a total of 35.3 crore tests conducted so far. Of this, 21,59,873 samples were tested yesterday. Indian Council of Medical Research has approved one more home-based test kit, namely PanBio COVID-19 antigen rapid test device. Home testing should be conducted as per the procedure described by the manufacturer in the user manual. It added that manufacturer's instructions must be strictly followed for disposal of the test kit, swab and other material. Earlier, the ministry had COVID Self-TM, a PathoCatch COVID-19 OTC antigen device for home testing. Home testing by rapid antigen test is advised only in symptomatic individuals and immediate contacts of lab-confirmed positive cases. All individuals who test positive may be considered as true positives and no repeat testing is required, while all symptomatic individuals who test negative by the RAT should get themselves immediately tested by RT-PCR method. Now, in what has been dubbed as a breakthrough treatment to prevent severe COVID-19 illness, BLK Max Super Speciality Hospital has successfully administered monoclonal antibody cocktail or MAC therapy in 2 of its extremely high-risk coronavirus senior citizen patients on Tuesday, saving them from developing more severe complications. Both the patients, as we speak, are doing well. The monoclonal antibodies cocktail is a combination of casinimab and imidimab, which is being used to treat mild to moderate high-risk COVID patients. The patient must be above 12 years of age and weigh at least 40 kilograms. Roche India and Cipla had announced the launch of antibody cocktail in India last week. Union Home Minister Amit Shah today inaugurated 9 oxygen plants to be operated by Vallabh Youth Organization in the presence of Chief Minister Vijay Rupani and others via video conferencing. Oxygen plants were inaugurated at Ahmedabad, Jamnagar, Mehsana, Dwarka, besides other locations. Speaking on the occasion, Amit Shah said fight against COVID was fought by 135 crore countrymen along with the government. He added that efforts of health workers and frontline workers have helped us to overcome various challenges.
इस विपदा के समय में अग्रिम पंक्ति के स्वास्थ्य कर्मियों ने, डॉक्टर, नर्सिस और स्वयंसेवी संस्थाओं ने, स्वयंसेवकों ने जिस प्रकार से अपने आप को अपना हित भूलकर समाज के लिए, दर्दियों के लिए, गरीबों के लिए काम किया है, वो मैं सभी को साधुवाद देना चाहता हूं और उन्हीं के कारण ये लड़ाई इस मुकाम पर पहुंची है.
And he added that the biggest challenge during the second wave of COVID was that availability of medical oxygen. Asserted that under Prime Minister's leadership, India patiently fought this wave and tackled the situation.
इस बार जब दूसरी लहर आई, तब सबसे बड़ी चुनौती ऑक्सीजन की थी. आमतौर पर भारत में 1000 मैट्रिक टन ऑक्सीजन चाहिए होता था हर रोज और उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट बढ़कर लगभग 10,000 मैट्रिक टन तक. 10 गुना रिक्वायरमेंट बढ़ जाने के बाद उसको 1 महीने के अंदर पहुंच पाना एक बहुत बड़ी चैलेंज थी. मगर मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में भारत सरकार ने और सभी राज्य सरकार इस चैलेंज को स्वीकार किया और इसके खिलाफ हमने लड़ना शुरू किया. देश भर के अंदर जहां जहां ऑक्सीजन प्लांट थे, सारे इंडस्ट्रियल ऑक्सीजन को बंद कर उसको मेडिकल ऑक्सीजन की ओर डाइवर्ट किया गया. देश भर में जहां जहां मेडिकल प्लांट थे, वहां तक रेलवे को पहुंचाने का प्रयास शुरू हुआ.
BJP National Spokesperson Sambit Patra today raised questions on Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's mismanagement of second wave of COVID-19. At a press conference, he accused Delhi government of saying that be it the supply of oxygen or the death toll, it was disorganized and has created a mess everywhere. He further asked Chief Minister Kejriwal to issue a white paper and answer all his questions.
हम एक जेन्युइन रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं अकाउंटेबिलिटी के आधार पर कि आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार एक श्वेत पत्र, एक व्हाइट पेपर जारी करे जिन सवालों को हम उठाने वाले हैं. पहला सवाल कि क्या आपने फर्ज आंकड़े, क्या आपने झूठे आंकड़े प्रस्तुत किए हैं जहां तक कि मृतकों की संख्या है, नंबर 1. नंबर 2, क्या कारण रहा, क्या कारण रहा अगर समग्रता में और एक लार्जर कैनवस में देखा जाए कि देश का सर्वाधिक केस फैटेलिटी रेशियो दिल्ली में रहा है.
And he also questioned Delhi government's claim to ensure home delivery of oxygen, saying that they are delivering liquor at home but failed in delivering medicines and oxygen.
बार बार अरविंद केजरीवाल जी कहते हैं कि हम थर्ड वेव की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, हम प्रोटेक्शन देंगे दिल्ली को. किंतु अगर ये आंकड़े जो आज आपके सामने हम रख रहे हैं, इन आंकड़ों को आज अगर हम जांचेंगे तो जनता का तो आत्मविश्वास आपके ऊपर है नहीं। पीपल वुड नॉट हैव द कॉन्फिडेंस ऑन यू, बिकॉज आप तो सेकेंड वेव से पहले भी कह रहे थे हम सारी तैयारी कर रहे हैं, हम हॉस्पिटल बना रहे हैं, बेड बना रहे हैं, होम डिलीवरी ऑक्सीजन का करेंगे। अरविंद जी, आप तो होम डिलीवरी ऑक्सीजन का करना चाहते थे, मगर एक्चुअली मुझे कष्ट लग रहा है कहते हुए, होम डिलीवरी आज अल्कोहल अर्थात शराब का कर रहे हैं। शराब के होम डिलीवरी में आप सक्सेसफुल रहे, किंतु ऑक्सीजन के होम डिलीवरी में, कंसंट्रेटर्स के होम डिलीवरी में, दवाइयों की होम डिलीवरी में आप सक्सेसफुल नहीं रहे।
And he also said that more than 34,750 death certificates were issued by 3 municipal corporations in Delhi during April and May, when the second COVID-19 wave was raging. This is 250% increase over the figure of 9,916 certificates issued in the corresponding period last year.
750 डेथ सर्टिफिकेट्स इशू किए गए हैं दिल्ली के 3 म्युनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन जो है, इन तीनों म्युनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन के द्वारा। किंतु जो ऑफिशियल फिगर है, जो सरकारी आंकड़े दिल्ली की सरकार देती है, वो कितना है? वह है 9,916 सर्टिफिकेट। तो ये 250% इंक्रीज है, 250% इजाफा है संख्या में मृतकों की, जो आंकड़े दिखाए गए और जो वास्तविक संख्या है मृतकों का।
Moving on, overcoming all hurdles and finding new solutions in the times of pandemic, Indian Railways is continuing its journey of bringing relief by delivering liquid medical oxygen to various states across the country. So far, Indian Railways has delivered more than 23,741 metric tons of LMO, that's liquid medical oxygen, in more than 1,405 tankers to various states across the country. It may be noted that 344 oxygen express rails have completed their journey so far and brought relief to various states. As of date, Oxygen Express has loaded over 8,000 metric ton of liquid medical oxygen from Jharkhand, over 7,100 metric ton from Odisha, over 6,300 metric ton from Gujarat, over 1,300 metric ton from West Bengal, and some 488 metric ton from Maharashtra. Also, 218 metric ton from Chhattisgarh and 164 metric ton of oxygen from Andhra Pradesh for delivery across the country. Keeping in view the health of students and their bright future in the wake of corona infection, Centre had on Tuesday decided to cancel CBSE 12th class board examinations. Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank expressed gratitude towards Prime Minister for this visionary decision and action. In a series of tweets, Education Minister informed that to reach this decision, long consultations were held with state education ministers, education secretaries, educationists, school operators, students, teachers and parents. This is the world's largest consultation with all stakeholders for the examination. He added that in the world's largest democratic education system, safety, health and bright future of about 33 crore students is our top priority, and taking proper decision only after extensive consultation. The consultation with all the stakeholders is the speciality of the Modi government's decision-making process. Uttar Pradesh today joined the list of states who have decided to cancel Class 12th board examination, taking cue from the centre. Other states on the list are Haryana, Uttarakhand, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan and Goa. In a tweet, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said, board examinations of 10th and 12th of the Board of Secondary Education will not be conducted in the current academic session. He added that health, safety of our children is top priority.
जो विद्यार्थी ने हाई स्कूल में जो अंक प्राप्त किए हैं वो, और जो उसने फर्स्ट ईयर में अंक प्राप्त किए हैं वो, हम पहले उन दोनों को जोड़ेंगे। उनका जो औसत होगा वही उनके अंक पत्र में उसका अंकन होगा अंक के रूप में। अगर कहीं पर फर्स्ट ईयर की परीक्षा पिछली बार प्रमोशन हुआ होगा, उसने नहीं दी होगी, तो उस परीक्षा के स्थान पर, फर्स्ट ईयर के अंक के स्थान पर जो प्री बोर्ड इंटरमीडिएट में हुआ है उसको हम जोड़कर फिर उसका अंकन करेंगे उसके हाई स्कूल के अंकों को जोड़कर, यानी हाई स्कूल का अंक और प्री बोर्ड का अंक फिर जुड़ेगा, फर्स्ट ईयर के अंक नहीं हैं, उसके आधार पर हमारा रिजल्ट निकलेगा।
And many other states are expected to follow suit. But Bihar and Kerala, which have already held class 12th exams in full or in part, will work on the next steps. While Assam and Tripura are keen on holding the exams as soon as the second wave of the pandemic ebbs. Meanwhile, after cancellation of exams by the centre, the Central Board of Secondary Education is expected to announce the module for evaluating students' performance in the past academic year, based on which the result will be announced.
12वीं का परीक्षा परिणाम कैसे निकलेगा, इसके लिए थोड़ा इंतजार करना पड़ेगा। बच्चों को, पेरेंट्स को, टीचर्स को, उसकी प्रक्रिया हम बना रहे हैं। विचार विमर्श के बाद, विशेषज्ञों की राय के बाद हम उसका क्राइटेरिया तय कर रहे हैं और जैसे ही वो तय होगा हम पब्लिक डोमेन में डालेंगे। लोग एंजाइटी से बचें, र्यूमर से बचें, किसी तरह के तनाव से बचें और इंतजार करें। हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि लगभग 2 हफ्ते के अंदर हम क्राइटेरिया तय कर लेंगे कि 12वीं की परीक्षा का परिणाम किन किन पैमानों पर निकल करके सामने आएगा। लगभग 2 हफ्ते का समय लगेगा क्योंकि ये बहुत लंबा विचार विमर्श करना पड़ेगा और इसमें लगभग 14 लाख बच्चे हैं जिनका रिजल्ट, जिनके तमाम सारे प्रश्न पत्रों का या जिनके जो उनके विषय हैं उनका डाटा हमें लेना पड़ेगा, उसमें थोड़ा समय लगेगा।
BJP National President JP Nadda is speaking after paying floral tributes to leader Gopinath Munde. We take you to the bench.
आज उनके तरफ से मैं ज़रूर जहां उनके श्रद्धा सुमन अर्पित करता हूं, वहीं मैं करोड़ों कार्यकर्ताओं को यह भी कहता हूं कि हम सबको गोपीनाथ मुंडे जी से प्रेरणा लेनी चाहिए। उनके जीवन से हमको बहुत कुछ सीखने को है, बहुत कुछ जानने को है। हर एक विषय के बारे में जानकारी गहराई से लेने की उनकी आदत थी, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ उनकी सरलता उनका आवरण था, उनका आभूषण था। जिस सरलता के साथ वो मिलते थे वह भी हम सबको हमेशा ध्यान में रखना चाहिए। गोपीनाथ मुंडे जी के व्यक्तित्व के कई पहलुओं में से लोग अवगत होंगे, जैसा उनको संवेदनशील व सूझबूझ से भरा स्वभाव, जमीन से जुड़ा व्यक्तित्व, किसी के प्रति लंबे समय तक कोई द्वेष रखना, ये उनकी आदत नहीं थी। अगर कहीं कोई ऊंच नीच हो जाए, कोई बात आ जाए तो उसको वो बहुत देर याद नहीं रखते थे और फिर गले मिल करके आगे बढ़ने की उनकी आदत थी। इस तरीके से गोपीनाथ मुंडे जी को हम सब लोग जानते हैं और हम यह भी जानते हैं, जैसा कि देवेंद्र जी ने बताया, कि उन्होंने संघर्ष, सत्ता से संघर्ष का संदेश दिया, हमेशा संघर्ष की बात की और कार्यालय से निकल करके सड़क पर उतरो, ये संदेश उन्होंने दिया। ये हम सब लोग जानते हैं। यह इस बात को बताता है। और महाराष्ट्र के वो शहर शहर, गांव गांव उन्होंने घूमा था। वो शहर शहर, गांव गांव से परिचित थे और शहर के कार्यकर्ताओं के नाम लेकर के बोला करते थे। किसी भी गांव में जाएं तो वहां के कार्यकर्ताओं का नाम लेकर उनको बुलाते थे। किसी भी शहर में जाएं तो उनका नाम लेकर के बुलाते थे। और इतना घूमे हुए थे वो महाराष्ट्र की कि अगर वो हवाई हेलीकॉप्टर से भी चलते थे तो उनका नेविगेशन सिस्टम इतना मजबूत था कि वो खुद बता देते थे कि नीचे जो जगह दिख रही है वो ये गांव है, यहाँ के किसान ये बोते हैं, यहाँ के किसान पानी का स्रोत कहाँ से आता है, वो पानी का सिंचाई कहाँ से करते हैं, वो सारी उनको जानकारियाँ होती थी। जो भी पास बैठा होता था तो उसको बता देते थे ये इलाका ये वाला इलाका है, यहाँ के किसान ये बोते हैं, यहाँ का पानी का स्रोत की ये व्यवस्था है। इस तरीके का गोपीनाथ मुंडे जी का व्यक्तित्व था। किसानों के प्रति उनका लड़ना, किसानों की आवाज़ उठाना, किसानों के प्रति समर्पित होकर के काम करना, यह उनके जीवन में, जिसको कहते हैं गोपीनाथ मुंडे का व्यक्तित्व, इसका पर्यायवाची था। अगर हम गोपीनाथ मुंडे जी को माने तो गोपीनाथ मुंडे जी पिछड़े, दलित, वंचित, शोषित, किसान, इन सब के वो वक्ता, उन सब के वो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव भी थे। इन सब को प्रतिरक्षित भी करते थे और इनकी आवाज़ को वो बहुत अच्छे तरीके से हर फोरम पर रखना का प्रयास करते थे। गरीबी और सूखे से त्रस्त बीड़ जिले में के लोगों के दुर्दशा के खिलाफ भी उन्होंने संघर्ष किया। उनका युवा मन एक अमिट छाप छोड़ता है हम सब के लिए। गरीबों के उत्थान के प्रति, श्रद्धेय मुंडे जी के प्रति उनका दृढ़ निश्चय उनके कार्यों में दिखता था। उन्होंने गरीबों के लिए सस्ते भोजन की योजना और उसके साथ साथ उसकी शुरुआत की। उन्होंने मुंबई में स्लम पुनर्वास योजना की शुरुआत की, जो स्लम बस्तियों में रह रहे लोगों के लिए वरदान की तरह सिद्ध हुई। उन्होंने महिलाओं के लिए बीमा की योजना, जीजा माता महिला आधार बीमा योजना की थी। साथ ही उन्होंने बेघर आवास के लिए आर्थिक सहायता प्रदान करने की योजना, इसको भी लागू किया था। किसानों के लिए बलिराजा संरक्षण बीमा योजना का सूत्रपात किया। उन्होंने गन्ना तोड़ने वाले कामगारों के हित के लिए कड़ा संघर्ष किया और साथ ही उनके अधिकार उनको मिले, इसके लिए उन्होंने पूरी ताकत लगाई और उसमें उन्हें सफलता भी पाई। बाद में उन्हीं के द्वारा दिखाए गए रास्ते पर जब महाराष्ट्र में हमारी देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी के नेतृत्व में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनी, तो उन्हें के प्रेरणा से गन्ना तोड़ने वाले कामगारों के लिए अलग से महामंडल बनाया गया और इसके माध्यम से उनकी सेवा की गई। श्रद्धेय गोपीनाथ जी अपनी छोटी सी आयु में ही महाराष्ट्र में भाजपा संगठन की नींव रखी और भाजपा को दलितों, पिछड़ों, गरीबों और मजदूरों तक पहुंचाने का भगीरथ प्रयास किया। उसी के बल पर आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी महाराष्ट्र में सबसे बड़ी पार्टी के रूप में प्रतिलक्षित होती है, प्रतिष्ठित होती है। जब केंद्र में नरेंद्र मोदी जी की अगुवाई में भाजपा की सरकार बनी, तो गोपीनाथ मुंडे की कार्यकुशलता देखते हुए उन्हें गांवों, गरीब, मजदूरों, दलितों और पिछड़ों के उत्थान के लिए ग्रामीण विकास मंत्रालय का प्रभार दिया गया। बहुत कम समय वो इसके यहाँ मंत्री रह सके। हम सब जानते हैं कि ईश्वर ने उनको असामयिक हम सबसे छीन लिया, लेकिन उनकी सोच गरीबों के प्रति जो समर्पण था, उसको ध्यान में रख करके हम जानते हैं कि आज मोदी जी ने 7 साल में जो काम किसानों के लिए, दलितों के लिए, गरीबों के लिए, वंचितों के लिए, पीड़ितों के लिए पिछले 7 साल में जो काम किया है, वो सब काम में के दृष्टि को अगर देखेंगे तो कहीं न कहीं जो गोपीनाथ मुंडे जी की इच्छा थी उसको साकार करने में प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार सफल हुई है, यह हम जानते हैं।
That was BJP Chief JP Nadda remembering late Gopinath Munde. Moving on, the government has decided to extend the validity period of Teachers Eligibility Test or TET qualifying certificate from 7 years to a lifetime with retrospective effect from 2011. The respective state governments and union territories will take necessary action to revalidate or issue fresh TET certificates to those candidates whose period of 7 years has already elapsed. Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank said this will be a positive step in increasing employment opportunities for candidates aspiring to make a career in teaching. Teachers' eligibility test is one of the essential qualifications for a person to be eligible for appointment as a teacher in schools. The guideline dated 11 February 2011 of the National Council for Teacher Education laid down that TET would be conducted by state governments and the validity of the certificate was 7 years from the date of passing the exam. The Ministry of Labour and Employment government has issued an order and has constituted the expert group to provide technical inputs and recommendations on fixation of minimum wages and national floor minimum wages. The group has been constituted for a period of 3 years from the date of notification. The expert group will give recommendations to government on minimum wages and national floor wage. To arrive at the wage rates, the group will look into international best practices on wages and evolve a scientific criteria and methodology for fixation of wages. Let's now move on to our developing story. On the second day of his 2-day visit to the Kashmir Valley, Chief of Army Staff General MMA Naravne reviewed the security situation along the line of control today. He also met Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha yesterday. Addressing media persons, he said that Army is a tool towards the full restoration of peace in the Kashmir Valley by bringing down levels of violence. He was happy that there have been no incidents of stone pelting in the past month. He added that as of now, ceasefire is holding, but the onus of ensuring that ceasefire holds is squarely on Pakistan.
Terror infrastructure which is there on the other side of the LC, the terrorist camps, the terrorists, that continues. And therefore there can be no slackening as far as we are concerned in our levels of preparedness or alertness.
And General Naravne also assured the country that the army is much better prepared to tackle the third wave of COVID.
COVID is another kind of a war, and it's another kind of a war that the entire country is fighting, and I don't think there's any single family which has not been affected by COVID. And therefore it is our responsibility as the armed forces of the nation in this hour of need to do whatever we can for the help of our citizens. After all, if we are there for y'all, for the people of the country. We have helped the local administration in setting up additional beds, in repairing their oxygen plants, in providing oxygen cylinders, to the extent that we have even pulled out our medical staff, our doctors, from less affected areas and deployed them in the more high pressure stations and areas where there were more COVID cases.
And my colleague Nandita is joining us with more updates on Army Chief's visit to Kashmir. Nandita is joining us on the phone line. Nandita, Army Chief gives out a clear warning to Pakistan, warning against a breach of truce between the two countries. Give us more details of the context.
Yes, Shubhendu, as the Army Chief visited J&K, he was in Srinagar, and also he visited some hinterland areas in the Chinar Corps. He was, of course, accompanied by the Northern Army Commander, who has the responsibility of not just the LOC with Pakistan, but with Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, but also the LAC with China, and also the commander in charge of the Kashmir Valley, who's General D.P. Pandey. So basically, he was there to review the morale of the troops and the preparedness, because this is, of course, 1 year since we have been in a standoff with the Chinese PLA army, and our resources and our attention has been focused on the LAC. So although there has been a truce, sort of a ceasefire, which has been reached with Pakistan, the 2003 ceasefire was all but in name, because it was continuously being violated, unprovoked firing by Pakistan. But now the Army Chief is saying that the situation has been very peaceful in the last 1 month. He was very happy that there were no incidents of stone pelting witnessed, and he was saying that slowly but surely peace is returning. He was also very, he emphasized that army is just a tool and a whole of government approach. These are his words, that whole of government approach is, of course, working towards the peace in the Kashmir Valley, but army is just a tool of that, and the army is trying to bring down the levels of violence by getting the terrorists to join the mainstream and shunning violence. He also urged the youth to shun violence, because he said that this has not led you anywhere in the past to more than 20 years. Also, Shubhendu, he said that he had taken stock of the preparations for the Amarnath Yatra. He says that we are prepared in case the civil agencies decide that the Amarnath Yatra will go on this year, owing to the pandemic and other security concerns. It is the governor and his team which will take a call on that. Also, he was very categorical, Shubhendu, that he lauded the army's efforts in fighting the pandemic. He said
right,
that...
Nandita.
Yes.
Right. Right, Nandita, thanks very much for joining us with those inputs. Thanks very much. And the Border Security Forces made the biggest drug haul in years by seizing some 54 kilogram of contraband in Bikaner sector at Rajasthan-Pakistan border. The drugs were reportedly smuggled from Pakistan. The seizure is said to be the biggest haul in the history of BSF at Rajasthan border. The value of the seized contraband is estimated to be around rupees 270 crore in the international market. The smugglers sneaked contrabands through pipes into the Indian territory. 54 packets of 1 kilogram each were seized by the BSF. Meanwhile, 2 smugglers managed to slip back into Pakistan after delivering the drugs. The drug seizure operation was carried out by the 127th Battalion of BSF near Khajuwala area of the international border with Pakistan. And moving on to now our National Prime segment. The third edition of SDG India, SDG Sustainable Development Index and Dashboard 2020-21 was released by Niti Aayog today. Niti Aayog Vice Chairperson Dr. Rajiv Kumar launched the report titled SDG India Index and Dashboard 2020-21 Partnerships in the Decade of Action in the presence of Member Health Dr. V.K. Paul, CEO Amitabh Kant and advisor Sayukta Samadar. India's overall Sustainable Development Goal score improved by 6 points from 60 in 2019 to 66 in 2020-21. Mizoram, Haryana, Uttarakhand are the top gainers in 2020-21 in terms of improvement in the score from the earlier one, 2019, with an increase of 12, 10 and 8 points respectively. Top 5 states in SDG India Index includes Kerala with 75 points, Himachal Pradesh and Tamil Nadu with 74 points each, Andhra Pradesh, Goa, Karnataka, Uttarakhand with 72 points, Sikkim with 71 points, Maharashtra with 70 points. The bottom 5 states include Bihar with 52 points, Jharkhand with 56 points, Assam with 57 points, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh with 60 points each, Chhattisgarh, Nagaland, Orissa with 61 points. Meanwhile, Chandigarh is the top performing union territory with 79 points. Now, since its inaugural launch in 2018, the index has been comprehensively documenting and ranking the progress made by states and union territories towards achieving Sustainable Development Goals (SDG). The India Index 2020-21, developed in collaboration with United Nations in India, tracks the progress of all states and union territories on some 115 indicators. And my colleague Arun Sharma is joining us for more. Arun, take us through the key takeaways from this index, SDG Sustainable Development Goals Index that has been released.
Absolutely, Shubhendu. So now what this SDG index means that as far as sustainable development goals are concerned, in line with the United Nations SDG goals that has to be achieved by 2030, India is progressing well. It is because of the combined efforts of all these states. India has inched forward 6 points. That means in 2019, India's the point scoring was 60, and now it has moved forward to 66 points. So primarily, all these states primarily are performing well as far as sustainable development goals are concerned. And now in 2021, the number of goals and number of indicators have also been increased in 2021. That means earlier there were only 13 goals and close to 60 indicators, but now that has been qualitatively and quantitatively increased to 115 indicators. Now these indicators includes health, education, hygiene, sanitation, water, and of course, all the initiatives look at in last 7 years, like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Awas Yojana, Ujjwala Yojana, Ujala Yojana. So all these schemes and initiatives have played a significant role primarily to bring a change in various states and districts as far as SDG goals are concerned, as I mentioned the earlier parameters. And now, interestingly, if you look at all these SDG goals, the goals that are achieved, it is because of the cooperative federalism. Second, there is a competitive spirit, a positive competitive spirits between states to compete with each other to perform well as far as SDG goals are concerned. And now the best practices are also being shared, between two states which are having same geographical location, but one is performing well, another one is not in a position to perform well. So what are the best practices that can be learned from one state to another, so that the SDG ranking improves? Until and unless all these states perform well to achieve these sustainable development goals, India as a whole cannot achieve this goal by 2030 of achieving the SDG goals set by United Nations. One more important thing, it's a mega exercise, because India is a massive country with a population size of 130 crore. To conduct such a big exercise of indexing these states is huge, and of course this also improves the global ranking as well as far as the SDG goals set by United Nations is concerned. So yes, in that context, it's a significant ranking from Indian side as well.
Right there. Arun, thanks very much for joining us with those important inputs. And let's talk about the weather. The southwest monsoon made onset over Kerala coast today after a delay of a few days. IMD on Tuesday upgraded its monsoon forecast and said the country would receive normal to above normal rainfall and well-distributed showers in June to September period. Fairly widespread rainfall and thunderstorms with heavy rains have been predicted at isolated places over northeast of India from June 8th to 10th. Let's now take stock of all the news and updates from the world of business and finance. And my colleague Tanvi joins us for Business Prime.
Thank you, Shubhendu. Up first in Business Prime. Fugitive Mehul Choksi has been denied bail by a Dominican magistrate for alleged illegal entry to the Caribbean island nation. The fugitive de Minter was arrested in the Dominica on the 23rd of May. Choksi is wanted in India for cheating the Punjab National Bank of almost 14,000 crore rupees. 62-year-old Choksi appeared before the magistrate in a wheelchair from the Dominica China Friendship Hospital, where he is undergoing treatment. The Dominican High Court was hearing a habeas corpus petition filed by Choksi and had ordered him to be presented before the magistrate to face charges of illegal entry. Choksi, meanwhile, has pleaded not guilty for illegal entry into the Caribbean nation at his court appearance in the hearing yesterday. The matter has been adjourned till June the 14th. And the domestic stock markets have gained so far on Thursday, although the gains have moderated in afternoon deals. So the Nifty at the National Stock Exchange had climbed 98 points, or 0.6%, to 15,674 a short while ago. The Nifty also hit a new record intraday high of 15,693. The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange had advanced 324 points, or 0.6%, to 52,171. The broader market has put up a much better show today, with the BSE Mid-Cap Index adding 1% and the Small Cap Index jumping 1.2%. The top index gainers are Titan, ONGC, Adani Ports and Eicher Motors, with gains of between 2.2% and 5.4%. The top index losers are IndusInd Bank, Bajaj Auto, HCL Tech and Tech Mahindra, with losses of between 0.5% and 2%. Over on Wall Street, the main stock indices were little changed on Wednesday ahead of closely watched economic data due later in the week as investors grappled with concerns over inflation. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 31 points to 34,607. The S&P 500 advanced just 7 points to 4,209. And the Nasdaq Composite Index added 22 points to 13,759. A weekly unemployment report is due today, followed by the monthly jobs numbers tomorrow. Investors are closely tracking the labour market's recovery after an unexpected slowdown in jobs growth in April fanned inflation worries there. Meanwhile, other key Asian markets ruled a shade below a recent 3-month high as investors weighed inflation concerns ahead of key US economic data. So MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan rose 0.3%. Japan's Nikkei index added 0.4% and South Korea's Kospi index gained 0.7%. But the Chinese market was marginally weaker. So that's it in Business Prime for the moment. Back to you, Shubhendu.
Thank you, Tanvi, for joining us with those inputs. Let's now find out what's making news across the globe. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu opponents announced that they have reached a deal to form a new governing coalition, paving the way for ouster of long-time Israeli leader. Dramatic announcement by opposition leader Yair Lapid and his main coalition partner Naftali Bennett came shortly before a midnight deadline and prevented what could have been Israel's 5th consecutive election in just over a couple of years. Under the agreement, Lapid and Bennett will split the job of Prime Minister in a rotation. Bennett is to serve the first 2 years, while Lapid is to serve the final 2 years. The agreement still needs to be approved by Knesset or the Parliament of Israel in a vote that is expected to take place early next week. If it goes through, Lapid and a diverse array of partners that span Israeli political spectrum will end Netanyahu's record-setting but divisive 12-year rule. Let's also look at the COVID-19 situation from across the world. The world continues to fight the COVID pandemic. So far, over 17 crore 24 lakh 1,000 people have tested positive for coronavirus globally. The number of recoveries stand at more than 15 crore 50 lakh 27,000. As many as 37 lakh 7,000 people have died worldwide due to COVID-19. The United States continues to register a maximum number of COVID-19 cases in the world. More than 3 crore 41 lakh people have tested positive for coronavirus in the country, while the deaths so far due to the virus in the United States are over 6 lakh 10,000. Malaysia continues to witness strict third nationwide lockdown amid a surging third wave of COVID-19. Only essential businesses, including supermarkets and medical clinics, are allowed to operate during the lockdown's first phase from June 1st to 14th. Most schools are closed and shopping malls have also been shut. Only 2 people from each household are allowed to go out to buy essentials or for medical services, with movement limited to about 10-kilometer radius. Travel between most parts of the country has been banned for months. Malaysia reported over 7,700 new coronavirus cases yesterday, bringing the total number of infections recorded in the country to 5,87,165. Malaysia had also announced an additional $9.70 billion stimulus package to help those affected by the lockdown. And time now for all the action from the world of sports. Let's turn to Suchitra for all the sporting action.
Thank you, Shubhendu. And in our special series marking 50-day countdown to Tokyo Olympic Games, we will take a look at the profile of one Tokyo-bound athlete every day. We are starting with ace Shuttler and Olympic silver medalist PV Sindhu, who is all set to represent India in the upcoming Tokyo Olympics.
She is the Olympic champion, and Pusala Venkata Sindhu, obvious disappointment for her.
I was a bit sad when I couldn't get that gold at the Olympics, but my coach told me that, and my parents told me that you have got what you have not expected, and you have to be happy about it. I've achieved at Rio silver, but this time I have an opportunity to do better, so I want to change the color to gold.
PV Sindhu was born on 5th July 1995 in Hyderabad as the beloved daughter of PV Raman and P. Vijaya. PV Sindhu joined P. Gopichand Badminton Academy in 2004 at the tender age of 9 and thus began her historical journey of badminton.
Step by step, year by year, I've been improving. And when I got my first World Championship, bronze medals, that is when I thought, okay, when others can do it, I can also do it. And I started believing in myself.
Sindhu won an individual gold in 2012 Asia Youth Under-19 Championship and the women's team gold medal at the 2016 South Asian Games. She hence qualified for the 2016 Rio Olympics.
When I got the medal, everything was like, okay, I'm on the cloud 9. I forget everything what has happened. And from there, I think I didn't look back. When I came back, I rectified my mistakes, and it gave me a lot of confidence, a lot of motivation, and my game, went to a different level.
And Pusala Venkata Sindhu, very first World Tour title.
She became the first Indian woman to win gold in BWF World Tour Finals with her brilliant performance.
That particular tournament was very satisfying because, I was losing, all the matches in the finals. I think that was one of the tournaments where I won in the finals and it was like completed.
She's done it.
PV Sindhu did not stop at this. She also achieved the distinction of being the first Indian shuttler to win gold at Badminton World Championship, defeating Nozomi Okuhara of Japan in August 2019.
I was really desperate that, okay, I want that win now. I need to get that gold. Definitely that win, that moment, I think I had tears because it was much weighted win for me.
PV Sindhu's unprecedented dedication to her game led to her being honoured with Arjuna Award, Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna, Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan. But PV Sindhu believes that she is yet to make these awards worthwhile by hoisting the tricolour at the top of the victory podium at Tokyo Olympics. This time, when Sindhu enters the Olympics, she will leave her mark on the pages of history forever.
There's no much time. I'm pretty excited and looking forward for it. But definitely it's not going to be easy. I need to work hard.
She's grown in stature, she's grown in confidence. And I do believe that she has the definite ability to be amongst the medal winners and the top medal in Tokyo.
Saluting her determination and commitment, the hope of 140 crore Indians for the Olympics rests on the able shoulders of PV Sindhu.
The Indian men's and women's squads have left for the England tour. BCCI has shared pictures of the players readying to board the flight to England on their official Twitter account. Both the men's and women's team will be flying in the same chartered flight in a historic first. Upon reaching, they will head into a straight 10-day quarantine. Regular tests will be conducted during the period of isolation. Players' activity will be allowed in a gradually increasing manner after each round of negative testing. The Indian men's team will begin their England tour with the World Test Championship final against New Zealand in Southampton from June 18th. They will then face England in a 5-test series starting in Nottingham from August 4th. The women's team, on the other hand, will play a one-off test apart from 3 ODIs and 3 T20 internationals against England from June 16th to July 15th. So those were some sports updates. Back to you, Shubhendu.
Thanks very much, Suchitra, for joining us with those inputs. And with that, we conclude this edition of Midday Prime. Just a gentle reminder, please do continue to follow all COVID-related appropriate behavior, including wearing a mask at all times. Namaskar.